Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're joined by Lezlie and Anitha and Stacy in the chat talking about the Shadow Rising, book 4 in the Wheel of Time series. Yeah, I love that cover. I love the old,
I
90s covers.
love these.
Just
They're
gives
the
me such a good
best.
feel.
This was back they always did wraparound covers. Like these days we get a wraparound cover and we're like, oh my god, it wraps around. Like back in these days,
It was normal.
it was these
Yeah.
book covers are works of art. I absolutely now I mean, are they corny? Yes, but
Absolutely,
I
but
love that.
that's the 90s for
You know,
you.
what
I
is
just
happening? What is happening on this cover? Is that
well
Moraine?
that I do believe that is Moraine. She's the only one that we really know about at this point that we know well, that we spend a lot of time with. That's Blue Aja, and I'm assuming that is Rand in the background,
Mhm.
possibly. I don't know, but like the like 80s, 70s, 80s like sweatband that's around. I
He's
mean,
too relaxed for Rand actually, sitting
I
very
know
casually as like a, hero in a movie.
it's
Oh
just
my god, it was so funny when I did
hilarious.
my Dear Doctor Fantasy episode with Philip. He took the Eye of the World book cover and put our faces on there.
He
Oh
does
my
some
god,
great
gosh, that was
thumbnails.
so funny. Oh
Yep. He has some of the greatest thumbnails out
my
there.
gosh.
His
Yeah,
Vinland
they're
Saga
very
ones with him and Murphy, I live for those.
and I love actually Chiago's and thumbnail for Dear Doctor Fantasy. They're riding on Griffin. That was so fun.
That's probably one of the better ones. That's what we have to do. We need to have like a ranking video of Philip Chase's thumbnails. That is a tier ranking I would watch, and I
They're great.
don't watch those.
Well, let's first talk spoiler free on book 4. Of course, we'll say, as I always do, because this is now book 4 in this series, there will be spoilers for the first 3 books. So if you don't want to be spoiled for those books, we'll see you later. Spoiler free thoughts on The Shadow Rising. For me, I really enjoyed this book. After I got over how long the chapters were, they felt a lot longer than the first couple books. Once I got past that, I was sucked in for most of the book. I think I would rank this either 2 or 3 in the books that we've read so far. It's one of my favorites in the series so far.
It's a very much a darling of the fans of Wheel of Time. And I think the reason why, especially for me,
Yeah.
is Eye of the World was a bit of a mess, but it had enough to interest me
Yeah.
into the series. And this one is where we really start to see the scope of how big this is going to be. And book 4 is finally where Robert Jordan gets to the type of character development that I love.
Yeah.
I have never enjoyed the younger characters in this series, but now they're starting to mature. They have accepted that my fate is to go forward down this path. I've tried, they've all bucked against it. The boys did anyway. In the previous 3, now they've accepted, okay, this is kind of out of my hands. I've just got to play forward and see to, try to at least gain some control over what's going to happen. And they're getting more mature, and it's just getting more interesting. We're getting away from some of the stuff that Robert Jordan like to repeat over and over, and now we're just getting into the nitty gritty. And it's just, I'm loving all of the different plot lines that were like, it's just really good character wise, it's good world building
Yeah,
wise, it's good magic system wise, the history, the lore, the prophecy, meeting more of the different types of people. Like, that's having a world that doesn't just have one race of people in it. Like, the Wheel of Time has many races, many cultures, many religions, many rituals that they perform, but there is also, each one seems to have their own prophecy of the
right.
dragon. Like, everybody is waiting on this one person, and that's kind of what seems to be bringing them together, or at least sometimes them working together, because they realize,
Yeah.
like, I always make fun of with what the Aiel call Rand. I always say they call him the candy corn, so the car corn, but it's just, I love seeing all of that just really start
Yeah.
to move. And so
The
yeah, this
world
is
building has been my favorite part of this series, and it felt like, at least to me, here in book 4, we get that world building and expansion of the world, but we see it starting to have an actual purpose now, instead of just introducing us to the different parts of the world that Robert Jordan has built. He's now taking what we've learned in the first 3 books and showing us that, this is not just to show you it's a diverse world, but each one of these different parts of this world and the myths has a purpose in his overall story.
Now I feel bad to say something, unpopular opinion, when you both liked so much. But I definitely struggled, especially in the beginning of this book. I really enjoyed the later part of the book, especially character development for some of the characters. That was actually amazing. Entire Two Rivers arc is my favorite. So there are some good moments where I thought, wow, this is amazing. I want to know more about this. So I really like, as you say, world building is really good. But at the same time, beginning 300 pages, I was a little frustrated. There is a lot of how do I put it, nudity, which I was like, okay, what is happening, why is it happening? uh,
well, it's a lot of it is rituals.
Yeah,
yeah.
So,
I,
and as somebody who reads a lot about different types of religions and cults and things of that nature, I've always been fascinated with, like, what people believe in, why they believe it. But a lot of them, and I guess I mean, yeah, there's a lot of it in there, and that continues through the series. But it's it's a religious ritual, and a lot of the times it is to signify cleansing, purity, and there are even some religions today that still have certain things that
yeah,
the person participating, it signifies, I'm letting go of the materials of this world. And so
right.
it just didn't stand out to me, I guess.
And a lot of it is, also, kind of a coming of age rituals for, you know, kids transitioning from being an adolescent into being an adult, and kind of letting go of your past world and accepting your new world.
Yeah, yeah, the IL, I mean, they're like the Garden of Eden types
Yeah,
of folks. They do a lot of things.
they like their rituals.
But yeah,
that
yeah.
but that entire connection of Isle with Tuathavan and
Mhm.
Aes Sedai and Tarangrial, that was just my favorite world building part. That is actually,
And
that was
that
really good.
that is what I love about this series. Like, and that's been something I've loved always. Just like I've always mentioned, I love learning about the things that are made by the power, the one
Mhm.
power, using the male and female half, and just the things from the Age of Legends. And he continues to just create these things, and I'm just
Yeah,
going, like, and the funny thing is the one thing I could not remember on this reread that made me nervous was the whole time during this prophecy and concerning the Aiel is that Rand is going to unite them and destroy them. And I couldn't remember what that meant, because
Um,
prophecy isn't always exactly what it means.
right.
And so then at the end of the book, when he's going up against Couladin and he's like, all right, look, I went through the arches and this is what I saw, and he revealed to them that connection. And it was just like I once I started reading it, I remembered the connection, but I didn't realize that that was how Rand
Yeah.
destroyed the IO. But uh it, it's
Yeah, I
that's
was
a
also
favorite part of
actually
mine
very
too.
worried. What do you mean by destroy? People die? I mean, they have been dying from long time. In that background story, we learned that all 10,000 isles stood with Lewis Tharin to remind him of his memories, but they were destroyed actually. That was actually a very heartbreaking story. So it's like they would get destroyed again, barely any few isle left. So when that meaning was revealed, how the destruction happens, that was actually, I really like that part.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not the
it's
literal destruction.
and it just goes to show, like, that moment you're talking about, how intricate and detailed this story is and how fleshed out it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you read fantasy stories and you hear about, well, in the past this happened, this is why we do it this way. Well, we get Robert Jordan's, like, on the one hand, the man is really detailed and really gets into it. And while that can kind of get a little bit long-winded in some places, and other places like that,
Yeah.
man, it's just a beautiful thing. And I think that's why when people read this series and they do love it, they do connect with it. That's why. It's
Right.
because just on the level of fantasy series, it's so well done as far as details. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and I used to wonder, because this cycle, we know that this happens over and over with the Forsaken one, the Forsaken and the Dark One and the Dragon Reborn, good versus evil. This happens over and over and over, and there's this last battle prophesied and all this fun stuff, and you're just going, how many people have been involved in this? Different types of people who have helped the Dragon Reborn.
How many
You know,
different cycles have we
I
gone
don't
through?
and I don't think he's always come from the same one. Like, this time
Yeah.
it was prophesied he was going to be the son of a maiden, born of a maiden. And oh man, which, did y'all not love that,
Mhm.
where he was talking about the Fardaris Mai, they carry my honor. And he
Yeah.
doesn't realize why yet, which is hilarious. But and just how he made them feel when he stood up and was like, the Fardaris Mai carry my honor. Like, there's so many good moments like
Yeah.
that start to happen in this book that just
I
so
mean, for me, I love the details that Jordan puts into these books because it shows you just how much care he took with writing these books. He didn't just throw words down on paper and call it a day. He planned it out to every little detail, and you could tell this was like his passion in life. And I love books where you can just read the book and that writer loved writing that book or that series, and it wasn't just for a paycheck. It
did
was their passion, it was their life.
did either of you have a favorite plot line in this one?
Oh, two rivers standing up themselves against Trollocs. That is actually my favorite. I cried so much. I was so happy. I mean, it was
Oh,
very inspiring actually. How
yes.
inspiring it was.
Just
Awesome. I
seeing
mean,
him come into his own and just stand up for his family, his friends, his
Yeah.
people. Ugh,
And
like,
not only that, but the other part of his story that developed in this book was his love and his marriage. Uh, you
did y'all
know,
see that coming? I've been waiting for that where he
Not
and
as
Fael
soon as
got
yeah.
married.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen eventually, but I didn't expect it to happen as soon as it did.
Yeah, I don't think he did either.
No, absolutely not. He's like, "Wait, you mean like he wanted to put it off a year. He's like, "We can be engaged for a year
Yeah.
and then
Well, that
let me
was
go
Two
deal with
Rivers
all this
custom.
crap."
Hmm. Yeah, that right there was the
And
first thing that happened when the show came out. I watched the first
Right. The
episode and
reason.
I immediately knew I was going to hate it because they gave him a wife. And as soon as they introduced his character on the show, and they're like, oh, this is his wife, I looked at my husband and I said, well, she's gonna die. And he goes, how do you know that? I said, because she didn't exist in the books.
Yeah.
And they're all the same age, and they've got him being like so much older than the other two. And I was like, this is gonna suck. And he's like,
you know,
oh, I'm not gonna
I,
be able to watch this with you.
I can imagine. And that scene in the middle of that final battle scene, when that boy comes and Perina's, what is your name?
His
Oh
Yeah.
little
my
cousin.
god.
His little cousin. I was
That
messaging
was
Lezlie. I'm
so
like, "Oh
beautiful.
my god."
That
He
was
thought he
precious.
lost his entire family, and that realizing that he has someone left. I mean, maybe extended cousin, but still, that moment, that's very heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time.
Yeah. See, I loved Perrin's arc in this one. I enjoyed Rand. Rand is the character I he is my least favorite of
Yeah.
all the characters in the Eye of the World. I mean, Eye of the World, Wheel of Time. Rand is my least favorite. Cannot stand him. But I like what
Definitely.
starts happening with his storyline
Mhm.
because what I love about it is you're not in his head.
Right.
So you're like, is he being really smart here? Or is he going mad? You like the constant not knowing if he's just trying to lay out a plan or if he's just having, a moment of madness. I really loved. But I think my favorite was Sinuan Sanche sending Elaine and Nanaeve out to hunt the Black Aja.
Yeah.
That I just
Nynaeve's fight with Forsaken. Oh
Eden.
my god.
That was good.
Kick
I
ass.
loved how he described how he's like if a man walked into the room, he would just see two women staring at each other.
Right.
He wouldn't see that there was an actual duel taking place. And it's just
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I loved it.
I was shocked when they overthrew Sanchin.
Oh my god. I
The
I cried actually.
I was
I
like,
Yeah, me
"Oh
too.
my god, what?" Like I was like trying to like film my vlog while I was reading that chapter and I like started the chapter. I'm like, "Okay, something it feels like there's going to be something really big here. I don't know what it is yet, but it
Yeah.
feels like something really big is going to happen." And then I got to the part where they're like, and Sanchin was overthrown. I'm like, "What?"
The tower
actually
was
what
broken. The one thing that everybody looked at as the symbol
Right.
of the defense against the Dark One is broken. Now, I don't think in this one, word hasn't gotten out yet what's happened.
Actually, what surprised me was not them taking down Amberlin's seat, because Elida was ambitious. I did not like her from the beginning, but
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised at the cruelty of how they did it, how many people they killed it. They killed warders, they steal them. I mean, Amberlin Seat and Leon, and they killed Blue Aja. I mean, we are not sure how many ran, at least I'm not sure how many ran. So
Mhm.
I was so surprised at the cruelty of that, and Gavin killing his own teacher. Oh my god.
Yeah, that
I
was rough. That was
that
rough.
I mean, actually, I'm really surprised at how dark this book is. I did not get that feeling in first three books.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
it even felt like grimdark to me. I was so shocked.
Well, the difference is the majority of the characters aren't gray. Like
Right.
we know that they're kids trying to do the right thing, but oh man, yeah,
And there's
it's
still hope. I mean, especially with parents. storyline into Rivers.
There,
That's a
well, I
storyline
don't think
full of hope.
Grimdark has an absence of hope. It's just the majority of the characters, they may, you know, they today they might help defend the tower, tomorrow they might not. It just,
Right.
but it's going to it's the battle for good and evil is not pretty, and the thing about it is, though, we only know of a certain number of Black Aja. We don't
Mhm.
know how big it is. We don't
Right.
know who is or isn't. And it's the constant not knowing. And I love that danger because I
Yeah.
can't remember. It's been maybe 7, 8 years since I've read this far in. I can't remember who all is or isn't part
Right.
of that. I mean, I remember the main ones because they're kind of
Of course.
unforgettable.
Yeah.
But
And will
yeah,
things change now? Will they have more essentially Black Ajas now that there's a new Amerlin seat in place?
well, there's not one yet.
Well, they're
Aleda is just
right.
acting. They've got to do whatever. Who
I
knows what's going to
I
happen in.
have a strong feeling that Egwene will be the Amberlin seat, because in Perrin's one of the old dreams, he has seen that in one of the windows, he has seen that Egwene standing in the middle, and many women kneeled around her, and Nynaeve and Elaine were also there. So I
Well,
think Egwene.
but remember now, when they dream and they go into the dream world, they're they're dreaming sometimes like what they want to wear, or when Nynaeve is thinking about land and she's wearing a little bit less than so they have some like that was I got so tickled when, especially when they run into a Mies and she's like, what are you wearing, girl? So cute.
Yeah,
Which,
their dreams sometimes are kind of prophetic in what will happen, but not always.
and so what did y'all think about the wise ones, and who do you think would be worse, getting trained by a wise one or in the tower? I think
Uh,
I'd rather go to Shiriam's office every day than be
yeah,
trained by the wise
absolutely.
one.
Yeah, both are tough actually. I mean, we cannot say one is better. Only thing I can say is wise ones look, at least they're deceiving, but they look more open to share.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can say. Other than that,
But
That
if they
that's
training
piss them
wise,
true.
off, they'll degrade you to a child.
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, if you act like a child, then you're going to dress like one.
Oh my god, that's that's so silly actually. I mean, Egwene's at least it was better, but in the dream, 9 years clothes and her hair changing was so silly and funny.
Well, so we also learned along with Rand that apparently he's got a half brother.
Right.
I thought that's intriguing.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
wonder, yeah, and it's like, why didn't you just like, who is it? Where are they?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I wondered, did I meet him already?
I'm like, we learned the names of his mother and his father. It's
Yeah.
like,
Does his brother not have a name?
so I thought I wrote
And
that down.
another thing I liked is actually this entire teamwork of Tom, Julian, and Bale Domain. I mean, initially when the story arc started, I was scared. I was like, we are going to meet Shanchan again. Oh my god, Elaine and Naini were walking to trap, but they will trap again them. I mean, I was so scared actually. But once we started that uh, arc, I really liked. Their equation between each other at the same time, the complicated relationship with Egwene. Her name is Egwene something.
Oh, Aganon.
Again.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
Sanchin.
Nynaeve and Elaine don't want to like her, but they like her. That complicated, bond is really interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, Elaine was okay with her, but Nynaeve was like, No, I'm not gonna like you anymore.
Right.
Quit making me like you. And
Yeah.
then I like that she softened up, and she, because she realized we're not so different.
Right.
Yeah.
And she understood, okay, well, this is one Sanchan that when she realized what that bond meant between wearing the Idam, what that meant, and that it could be learned, and she let her prisoner go, and she's wanting to learn more about it. She's not continuing with what she had always been told
Right.
and trained by. And yeah, I loved that whole storyline. Just
Mhm.
absolutely loved it. And Elaine finally remembering when she got drunk,
Oh my
I was dying laughing.
God.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. And remembering who Tom is, and now she's like, she led him on to believe that she didn't remember anything about it, that she was drunk, but now
It's
she's
so,
being really
yeah.
kind of possessive of him, and just like, well, you're gonna stay here, and he's like,
She's like,
woman, I'm
you made me
She's
laugh.
like, I need to arrange pension for him. In this age, he can't roam around villages. That was so cute, actually. And I
Mhm.
really like that there is someone for Tom to care about him.
Yeah, that's not dead. Poor guy. He kind of has trouble
Channing, that's a
keeping him
question
alive.
for you. Would you play the Maiden's Kiss game?
Oh no. No, no, no. No, no. That that sounds like that might be a little dangerous.
Yeah.
But it sure was funny whenever it would come up.
Uh, I also
Especially
love that.
Matt was like
Oh my
the
gosh.
only one, of course,
Right.
to end up
You know,
playing.
I mean, Matt did not have many hilarious scenes in this book as much as the last book, but at the end, in that aisle meeting, when Coolidin showed the dragon tattoos, Matt was like, he was riding horses. Let's escape.
Yeah, he's like, let's go ahead and
Let's get out
let's
of
dip
here.
out. Let's dip.
that
Let's
Yeah.
that was hilarious, actually. That is so
yeah.
typical of Matt.
Yep. He's something else. Yeah, he was in the limelight in the last book, so
Right.
this one was kind of Perrin's.
Yeah. This one's
Yeah, he's
and
always Matt is only in the background, actually, behind Rand. We all forget him. Matt is like, Rand, what do you want me to do? I mean, he's only in the background.
the other moment
But
I loved in Perrin's storyline was when they were like kind of in between battles and Perrin realized just how bad it could get and he tried to send Fail off. And then she showed back up with one of the neighboring towns and she's like, "You think you can just
Two
get
of
rid of
them.
me that easy cuz you're going to die? No, no way, man. I am coming back. I am going to take care of you." That was just
that
like a great
beginning of
moment
that
for Perrin,
beginning of
especially
the
considering
chapter
what
is
has
so
been.
heartbreaking. I was crying, actually. I mean, even the battle started, I know help would come, but I don't know from where it is coming from, from whom it is coming. But when that happened, it was like, that's fantastic scene. Actually, it would make a good scene in even uh, TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great scene.
Yeah, it's just it made me remember in Eye of the World when Moraine was telling the people of Edmund's Field the story of Manetheren,
Yeah.
and how the two rivers, how strong the old blood runs. And I had totally forgotten that. And the battle is raging, and it's just like people, he heard the cries of Devon Ride and Watch Hill, and it was so good. And then when the Children of the Light were like, all right, battle's over, you're coming with us. And he was like, no, where were you?
Right.
You sat there and did nothing.
Yeah.
You can just y'all can carry your ass on is what you can do, and we will
He's
help
like,
you.
"I said you after you help us. You didn't
Right.
help." And then
Right.
there's like a townswoman's like, "Yeah, I saw them sitting over there just watching things."
No,
Yep.
actually, I thought that Children of Light, Perrin, that storyline will be closed in this book because focus was there. I did not expect actually that would be dragged. I mean, what I mean that Bonhard actually he was so obsessed. He's not seeing what is happening. Why is Perrin fighting prologues? If he's a dark friend, that is such.
Well,
You know,
the Children of the Light, it's just they're narrow minded. Just like there are people who they
Yeah.
believe a certain way, and you can't have a discussion with them about it because it's like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, nothing you say. And that's how the Children of the Light are. They're like basically everybody is a dark friend. But you also got to remember between Bornhall and Bayer and everything, they're stuck because they're having to work with Ordith,
Right.
and he is. I mean, they know the truth about him, and so what are they doing? They're in bed with the force that they're
Right.
supposedly created to fight against. So yeah, they're a mess,
And I'm very concerned
dangerous mess, but
yeah.
about Loyal because he
I,
was
I really like
so.
the role Royal played actually. Go ahead, Kate.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, he had an amazing part in it, closing the Waygate and whatnot, and he was so proud of himself. But at the end, just the language describing Loyal at the end of that book was just, he's very tired. He's so tired, and I'm like, you better not take him away from us yet. I'm not ready for that moment.
I
Yeah.
liked when Perrin told him there's going to be stories told about you today when he
Yeah.
made it
You
back
are
with
a
Gaul.
hero.
That
You
made
are
me
a
cry.
hero, Loyal, even if you don't know it. That was a good line.
Mm-hmm.
And Loyal knew that he may die. He gave that book he wrote to File actually to take to Camelin. That was the moment he realized that he's going to stay back and he's going to fight, and he may die. That was, I mean, I mean, yes, as Kate said, I'm not ready to lose him.
I know
There's,
that too, Leslie.
yeah, I just can't say anything, so I
I
won't.
know. I mean, I know eventually not everyone, not all of our main players are going to make it to the end of this giant series. I'm just like, if we lose him in the next book, I feel like the way that Robert Jordan writes, the moment it comes, while we'll be sad for it and I'll cry, it'll be the right moment. It will be, will be at least I'll feel semi prepared for it. Just knowing the way that Robert Jordan writes, he moments like that he kind of prepares you for without even realizing that you're preparing for it until it happens.
Now, you kill somebody I love, I don't like it. There is no right time.
No, I won't say I like it, but you know, it's also the battle versus good and evil, and it's a war, and not all of the good guys survive. Not all of the bad guys die. So
Kate turned into a philosopher. But yeah, you make sense.
it's life.
Yeah. But it's still, I mean, I cry a lot. I cry for everything. This book also made me cry so many times. But I mean, as long as it makes sense to me, I'll cry. I can take um, character deaths actually. I don't mind crying, I don't mind feeling sad. But if I feel angry, that I don't like it. I don't have outlet for that. If a book makes me feel angry, I'll not like that book. Sad, I love that book. That's 5 stars.
Well, I mean, if it's sometimes books make me mad, but they're well done. So I
Right.
can't,
And for a reason.
yeah. It's just, it's not a choice I would have made, but still,
For
probably
me,
somebody
it's
I really like died, and I'm like,
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I won't be happy. I'm never happy when one of my favorites die. For me, it's not, does this book make me feel this certain emotion, but does this book make me feel the emotions that the characters are feeling? To me, that's when a book becomes a 5-star read. If I'm feeling the same emotions, whatever those emotions are that that character is feeling, I'm like, that is good writing. When I can feel the
So,
same as fictional
so,
characters.
so when Lan walked over and picked Nynaeve up and laid one on her, were you feeling
My
those
heart
emotions,
fluttered.
Kate?
My heart fluttered. It's like, ah!
I was like, finally, somebody did
Right.
something.
Kiss the girl already.
Yeah, that was funny. Hello.
Today was
Y'all
today.
y'all have any predictions for where the fires of heaven is gonna take us?
Actually, no. No clue. At least shadow is rising. Fires of heaven, I can't even predict it. Initially, I thought it's fires of vengeance. I
That's a different book.
Oh, maybe it
so
is.
yeah, I thought Elaine will be, taken by Shanchan, and Rand will go to take vengeance. He will go destroy Shanchan, and then I realized the title is actually Fights of Heaven.
Yeah,
No idea.
Yeah, well, he's got a teacher now.
right.
So,
And even though Gwen is like a sister to him, he's got Elaine now. He's not Gwen's love interest anymore.
Yeah, Elaine. Elaine was in Tanchico, right? I thought she'll be taken by Shanchan.
Uh, I
I
think
mean,
we'll get
actually,
more with the Forsaken in the next
yeah,
book.
yeah.
yeah, we have a
Leslie,
bunch of
as
them
you
we
said,
haven't met yet.
Right.
yeah. Leslie, you said the teacher part, right? The teacher part at the end, what Rand did. I mean, you said you gave me the idea that he can be a teacher to me, but I cannot be taught by someone who has ties with the Dark Lord. Now he doesn't have any ties. Now he can teach me. That part is actually cool.
Yeah, that and nobody knew that could be done. Rand just freaking cut him off from the Dark One, and he was like, "Now what?"
Right.
And it's like Asmodean is stuck because he no longer has his connection to the Dark One, which means he's just like Rand and can go mad.
And then Rand went, not only did he cut him off from the Dark One, but he's like, now I'm going to make you my bitch and you're going to teach me how to control this and to do this right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually a cool detail in the Rand's Ruiden flashbacks, his ancestors' flashback. We saw that Mirin is the Aes Sedai who was experimenting and blew up that whole thing, and Lanfear is the Mirin actually. That was a cool detail. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, she is something.
She is. I'm ready for more with Lanfear.
Yeah.
And okay,
I
I
just want some. I want some. Never mind. I won't say it
I love to
because
hate her. She's the character I love to hate.
in
well,
in
yeah.
Great Hunt, do you guys remember when they were attacked in Shinar? What is that city?
You're talking about
These
near the
were all staying.
Borderlands.
Yeah, that fortress I forgot. Anyway, they when they were attacked, they wrote all that prophecy or something on the wall, right? So Lord Luke was mentioned actually, wherein took down the notes. So when Lord Luke appeared in Two Rivers, at least I don't know if he's the same person, but I immediately connected. Oh my God, Lord Luke mentioned in one of the prophecies in Great Hunt. This is the Lord Luke. I thought Wherein would at least doubt him. I'm so surprised Wherein didn't recognize him or didn't react to that person.
Um. So I mean, Viren is kind of scatterbrained. Like it's
Just a
like
little.
most of the time she is just in her own world. She's just dazed, unfocused. And then all of a sudden, it always makes note, like one of the characters, like her gaze sharpened,
Yeah.
and she just kind of like drops a couple of lines of knowledge, and they're just like, well, now wait a minute. And then all of a sudden she like kind of goes back to her, and she's like dazed and confused again. So it's possible that she's just in another world. She's focused on learning something else. And I didn't actually remember anything about a prophecy that she wrote down about Lord Luke when they were in was it Tyr when
My
he
notes. Oh my god, I forgot my notes in the other room. K Fox, this is actually a good point. The other day I was watching an interview kind of thing about a famous movie. What is the famous movie? Citizen Kane or something? That director, he was he was being interviewed. He said the same thing. So one a guy came to him and said that this guy said, I don't have experience, so why did you come to me? You are popular, you have many other offers, something like that. So that guy told him that you are new, you don't know what can't be done, so you will be more ready to experiment and do great things, so I came to you. That is actually a
mm-hmm.
very good point.
Yep.
Okay, who, when Loyal closed the way gate with two leaves, who opened the door again? Oh, if it will be really revealed in next books, then don't tell me.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you tell me, what are your predictions?
I don't make predictions. I mean, I've said this for 4 months now. Every time Lezlie got the most predictions out of me out of anyone in these past 4 months. If I make predictions, then I don't enjoy the book as much as I would if I just read the book without. Because if I make predictions, then my brain is going to focus on what I think is going to happen or what I hope is going to happen instead of what's actually happening. And I don't take in the book as much as if I just don't make any predictions and just go with whatever Robert Jordan gives us.
Yeah. He doesn't forget details like that, Anitha. You're
Yeah.
gonna get that answer.
I have my theories. I mean, I'll see what, I mean, if they'll come true or not.
Well, go ahead and say what your theories are. I'll hide my face.
Yeah. What are your predictions, Anitha?
I mean, my first theory was I think Alana did it, but I mean, I was like 60% sure that she did it, and but now I wonder it was what is Padan Fane's new name? That
Or
guy,
do you,
Odith. I mean, I wonder if he's the person because he thought at the end why Isam stopped sending Trollocs because the way gate is closed. That's why he stopped. I mean, that's all. That's it. I also doubted Lord Luke, but I'm not sure how. What is his role? Initially, I thought he's dark friend. I mean, I think he's dark friend. Why is he killing? I mean, what is his role as Slayer? Why is he killing? I thought he's killing wolves because wolves will help Perrin and they'll attack Trollocs. Even without Perrin, wolves don't like Trollocs. They will attack Trollocs. So I thought he's killing wolves for that, but he's also killing other animals. Why is he
is
killing
he?
other animals?
Is he? We never see him kill anything. We just see him ride into the two rivers. It was like, here's some heads.
Yeah.
But Hopper told Perrin that Slayer is killing them. Slayer is
But we don't actually see it. A lot of people say a lot of things in these books. Doesn't mean that.
Well,
in the first scene when Perrin came across the Slayer. He was he killed a wolf. He was taking that wolf's skin. At least that's what we have seen.
mhm. In the dream world, yeah.
So
Uh,
maybe other things he did not kill. We were told, or we were led to assume that.
But that's also in the dream world. So
Don't worry, that's coming.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind if my theories prove wrong, but I always have fun, coming up
Yeah.
with the different theories.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm kind of jealous of is I mean, sometimes I forget some little details and then I can have fun being like, "Oh, cuz I don't remember what happens," but the big stuff I do.
Or when it
Where
It's
happens,
going to
is
be
you
my
know
notes?
fun.
what's
I'm
gonna happen, but
forgetting
you don't know when.
something. I noted it down when something happened. Oh my god.
Yep. That's going to be fun. But pretty much the rest of the series, like this is where, in my opinion, this series really finds its stride. It's kind of like in the Dresden Files. Book 4 is where Jim Butcher finally is like, okay, bam, here's the magic for this series and growing this world. And that's why everybody's like, okay, if you just make it to book 4, that's where you get hooked. To me, it's kind of the same. Like this is what you can look forward to for the rest of the series. So if you got to this one and you really love this one, this is what you can look forward to for the rest of the series.
I was also hooked in book 1 of Dresden Files, so.
Oh my gosh, we got in the
I
car
mean,
to
like,
go
these short
somewhere.
stories, I'm like, okay, I'm in it for the long run.
We got into the car. Oh, we were going to the chiropractor yesterday, and I heard 2 seconds of the audiobook. And I was like, "Oh, you're listening to Stormfront." It was the part where his first date with Susan,
Oh, yeah.
and
So,
she does something on accident, and I knew exactly where he was, and I just started laughing.
that's so
So
funny.
I was like, I was like, you go ahead and play it. He's like, no, you've heard this one a bunch. I'm like, no, go ahead. So we
Right.
listened to a few chapters.
Please do.
Yep.
Well, any last thoughts on The Shadow Rising?
I have a feeling I'm forgetting something, but now I cannot tell it.
Well, there's always the Discord chat if you remember it and you must tell someone.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to ask y'all about what did you think about Brigida helping in the dream world? The different characters as they're finding themselves there and she kind of helps them out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool actually, cool detail, but I wonder. I mean, as of now, she only directed to go leave from here, but not big help. But I'll be curious to see how else she'll be able to help.
I
I
thought it
mean,
was interesting that when she was kind of explaining, it was kind of towards the end where she's kind of explaining how it worked and
mhm,
that the 100 companions are reborn
yeah,
into the world kind of like the Dragon Reborn is.
yeah.
And the one that her and I forget the guy that they're a couple, she's like, I know when I can't find him here, he's been reborn and then I'm going to be reborn soon after. And I thought that was interesting.
And I think Matt is now one of the 100 companions. Reborn because he can remember past lives, he can talk old tongue.
I like that. I like that. Yep.
I had, at first, I was skeptical whether we could trust her or not in this dream world because she just kind of was there. But I liked that we, along with the characters in this dream world, kind of had a guide through it, guiding us through it and explaining things. Because one of my favorite ways of telling fantasy books is learning the magic system in the world along with the characters as they learn it, instead of info dumps or whatever. You
Yeah,
learn it
the
along with them.
mentor mentee thing kind of. Yeah.
Right. And so, this whole dream world is new to our characters and they need some kind of a guide, whether it's inside the world or outside the dream world, to help them along if they're going to use this dream world to make a difference. And so once I got over my initial, like, anytime anyone new is introduced, I'm like, can we trust that person or not? once I got over that initial bit of skepticism, then I'm like, okay, this is actually really helpful for both us and the characters in the story, and it makes
Yeah.
sense.
First, I thought Brigitte is a Lanfear in disguise because she used to roam in dream worlds. So when she helped Nynaeve from that 4 second, okay, come out of that room, then I was like, okay, this is like good person. I I remember what I wanted to talk about. Daughter of the Nine Moons. When in the first door when Matt went, they said that he will marry Daughter of the Nine Moons. I was like, who is the Daughter of Nine Moons? Someone I thought. But then in again in the POV, she said Court of the Nine Moons. So that is someone Shan Chan. But when Matt went through the second door, he does not realize that yet, but it sounded like they grant wishes. So he said, I don't want to marry anyone. They say done. So I'm not sure if that happens again, but I think we will see some Daughter of the Nine Moon character.
Oh, this is gonna be so fun.
I'm always suspicious of everyone, no matter what series I'm reading. I'm like,
Well, I mean, you don't know how many of the Forsaken are free. You don't know who they
right.
are. So,
And ever since we saw Lanfear be able to disguise herself as someone else, I'm like, anytime someone new comes on, I'm like, is this really this person? Or is this one of the Forsaken disguising themselves as this person to trick someone?
Yeah,
mhm.
I mean, first that peddlers came, immediately I thought those four are forsaken. I was sure one of them is Lanfear, but I have no idea who other three were. But I was like, Rand, tell the others, tell the wise ones, warn them. Then I realized, okay, Rand is setting his own trap, but I was so worried that how many people will die.
Mhm.
Ooh, that guy's name is revealed. Mortgage advisor, supposed advisor, Ratwin or something, Ravine something.
Oh, what is his name? I forgot his name. We know he's one of the Forsaken. Ishmael is his Forsaken name. I can't remember what name he's going by. Seems like it starts with a no. Gareth Bryn is the one that is her captain that she's banished because of this other guy. I forgot what name. It sounds like it was a name that started with a G, but yes.
Lord Gabriel.
I knew it. All I could remember was a G.
Hey, you got the G right, so.
Where had Galad been? We have seen only Gavin. I was so surprised.
Ah, it's off winning the hearts of the ladies around the White Tower.
I
Yeah,
know, I was very, I was,
there's there's going to be some books where you're not going to hear from one whole pack of characters, and the next book you might hear from those characters and not the others. So there's so many that just get worked into this
Yeah.
huge story that some you're not going to hear from, and but that doesn't mean they're not around doing stuff. Should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining me today. And thank you everyone out there in the chat. That wraps up our live show for The Shadow Rising, Book 4. Join us next month for The Fires of Heaven, Book 5 in the Wheel of Time read along. I'm really excited to see where these stories go. And have a great weekend, y'all.
And have a happy birthday, Kate.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.